All right, so far we've been talking about how to keep Medicare paying for you or your loved one's stay in a nursing facility in Florida. But we have to recognize at some point in time, Medicare is going to run out, right? Medicare only covers up to 100 days. And if you exceed 100 days, the question is, do you still need long-term care? And so before the Medicare days run out, if you are not independently wealthy, we ought to be having a conversation about protecting your assets and getting you eligible for Medicaid to help cover a significant portion of that nursing home facility bill. But what I want to focus on in this video is the fact that a lot of nursing facilities love Medicare. They don't like Medicaid, and in fact, they really want their nursing facility as much as possible to be filled with people who are on Medicare and entitled to Medicare reimbursement. And as we know, that will run out eventually. And so what you want to be on the lookout for, if long-term care is needed beyond the 100 days that Medicare covers, is someone saying to you or your loved one, well, you can't stay in this facility because this is a Medicare room, or this is a Medicare bed, and it's not registered under Medicaid or private pay. And the reality is that is not true. Medicare beds are not limited to Medicare reimbursed residents. A Medicare certification does not prevent the room or the bed from being used by a resident who is either paying out of pocket or who is on Medicaid. And there's a process where they can go and get the bed if they needed to, get the bed certified as a Medicaid registered bed without having to kick you out. And we're going to talk about that in another video. But I want you to be aware there are really only 6 reasons to evict someone from a nursing facility. And this is per federal rule, per the Medicare Nursing Home Reform Act. There's 6 reasons. They're pretty basic. One of them is if you don't need that high level of care, right? And that makes sense. Nursing facilities are of kind of that highest level of care, and if you have improved, you or your loved one have improved to the point where you don't need that high of a level of care, if you would be safe at home with home care, if you'd be safe in an assisted living facility, that is a legitimate reason to say you really shouldn't be here anymore. If the resident doesn't need specifically a nursing facility care, they might need a lot of care, but maybe it's more psychiatric in what is needed. If you don't need to be in a nursing facility, if you don't need what a nursing facility provides, that's very related to the first reason, right? Then you don't need, that's a good reason to say, hey, you ought to be looking somewhere. If the resident is endangering the safety of other residents or staff members, if they're violent, this is a particular problem we hear about people who have been Baker Acted, and it's very difficult for them to find nursing homes that are willing to accept them because they may not be a safe resident. The facility may not be equipped to handle the significant safety needs of that individual. If they endanger the health of other people, which is, of course, if they're sick, right, and then it's time to go to a hospital, right, instead of infecting the nursing facility. The 5th reason is non-payment, right? They have a right to get paid. Now, what they don't have the right to do is discriminate based on how they are being paid. In other words, they have no right to kick you out if you're switching from Medicare to Medicaid, or if you're switching from private pay to Medicaid. They cannot kick you out because the method of payment has changed. But if you're not applying for Medicaid, if you run out of Medicare days, and if you're not privately paying, they do have the right to get paid, and they can kick you out for non-payment. And the 6th and final reason, which is kind of a no-brainer, is if they're going out of business, right? If the nursing facility has to shut down for whatever reason, they are able to kick you out. So those are the 6 main reasons, the 6 only reasons for evicting someone from a nursing facility. Hope you found this video interesting. I'm going to continue this series in some following